minutes.
Well, in a recent book about Afghanistan, written by an Afghanistan woman, she describes the situation in Afghanistan in this way, that there is a complete warlord system there, and there are three warlords. The main warlord is the United States Army. The second warlord is the Karzai government in alliance with the Northern Alliance. Is his name Dostum, I think, Dostum? And the third warlord, or warlords, is Taliban. Now, that seemed to be very clarifying to me, because we have a great deal of difficulty understanding the media's explanation of the Taliban. Sometimes it seems to be Al-Qaeda, sometimes it seems to be called the insurgency, sometimes militants. What in the devil is the Taliban? And if for all of us who read the paper carefully every day, I think we all see gradually that the Taliban are the people who really don't like the United States being in the middle.
What I think is interesting is we're seeing actually the popularity among Afghanis for the Taliban is surging, and we're seeing unpopularity of the war surging in America. And I think part of that popularity surge for the Taliban is because when we're dropping bombs on villages with suspected terrorists, oftentimes we do it somewhat indiscriminately, and we kill civilians.
Yes.
So when you kill civilians, you're creating opposition to us and support for the Taliban, who seems to be the only opposition.
The drone missile is guided from a base in Nevada.
Right. Yeah. CIA drones.
So they know they can see the building. It's
Right.
really amazing technology, but the intelligence is not always accurate, and so they kill wedding parties and families
when you
inside
drop
these
a bomb
buildings.
on someone's children, you're gonna make them upset.
Yes, and so the question is in Afghanistan whether or not the surge will have a good effect. Yes, it will pacify, but temporarily. But if you increase the number of soldiers who are attacking, does that mean an increase in number of civilian casualties? And we're watching that happening, aren't we? As the statistics come in day after day, as the civilians are slaughtered more frequently than ever before.
I think from what you've said is you would not want to use air power to pursue this war the way we have been, but this doesn't tell us anything about whether we could accomplish much by using ground power.
It would be more accurate as far as civilian casualties are.
I think it would.
No matter what, we need to have a more of a multilateral approach to it instead of primarily the U.S. being in there, the U.S. occupier. We need more of a multinational ground presence.
Those other nations are getting pretty fed up with us.
Yeah,
We've
they're
taken
pulling
so
back.
long.
Right.
My view is we blew this many years ago.
The cost is
going
just so high too, and the fact is that Taliban poses no threat to America at all.
None.
They're a nationalistic group, and the only threat to America was somewhat Al-Qaeda, and most of them are in Pakistan. So really, we need to, think about the cost. Our economy is tanking, and we need to use those resources to sustainably invest in our economy.
The Taliban are the people of Afghanistan, but the ones who especially are resisting. They're the fiercest in resisting, and they're mainly the Pashtun people on both sides, but the majority on both sides of the border. And so we need, in my opinion, to leave Afghanistan as soon as possible.
Well, I wonder how much of the reason we're there is in case Pakistan blows up in some way, and the nuclear threat of terrorists getting weapons that we feel we need people nearby on the ground.
Well, in
case there's a war.
Our CIA,
more of a war.
Our government may feel that, but the Pakistani government itself says over and over, day after day, we don't want you dropping bombs in our country.
Right. That makes it more unstable when we have CIA drones going over the Pakistani border and bombing, we
Well, of course.
killing civilians sometimes. I mean, that's feeding a potential overthrow of what semblance of a government they have.
But that seems to be, geopolitics, the way people think. Churchill wanted battleships in the Mediterranean while things were gearing up with Mussolini. Is it a case of that we're just trying to have forces there to make a
Well, it's
statement?
sort of about.
I don't know. I think if we're going to make any sense of this, we got to go back and look at the history just a little bit. We made a huge mistake when we took our eye off of Afghanistan. I was actually in favor of the war in Afghanistan right after 9/11. But we could have wound that up, I think, and pacified that country within a year or 2 years if we hadn't gone off on this wild goose chase in Iraq. That just totally jinxed it in Afghanistan. Now we've got a mess in both countries, and we're losing both of them. I have always thought the best thing to do at any point during the Iraqi war was just pull out now. And we still need to pull out of Iraq now. And we probably also need to pull out of Afghanistan now because we have just blown it also.
I think an important point, though, is that we probably didn't need to go to Afghanistan either because we were not attacked by a country. We weren't attacked by Afghanistan. We were attacked by a group of people that aren't a country. And really, it's more of a police and intelligence issue than it is a military issue. We can't bomb our way out of this. I mean, and there are reasons that the terrorists were upset with America, and we have still not begun to address those reasons.
Okay, it did have a lot to do, though, with the fundamentalists, the Taliban in Afghanistan, and I would disagree just a little bit. I don't think the Taliban represent the people. I think they represent the an extreme fundamentalist wing.
I said extreme.
Okay.
The fierce. The fierce. opponents.
We could have applied other pressure, though, before
they're a
invading
faction,
to say that
extreme faction.
we need to be dealing with Al Qaeda, and you're going to help us deal with Al Qaeda, or this is going to happen. We didn't do that.
The thing
Well,
is,